everyone. I would like to welcome my friend and local orthodontist, Dr. Manal Ibrahim, to our show. Welcome, Manal.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Dr. I, as most of her patients call her lovingly, and I go back 20 plus years. I think we met through the Chamber of Commerce and have been connected and have been friends ever since. I use their adult dentistry practice as my dentist, and then my son Nick has been a patient of hers for his now very straight teeth. So we'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
To start, if you can just share a little bit about yourself, a little bit. I know you're a mother of two, just a little bit more so everyone can learn more about you.
Yes, thank you. I live in Naperville. I have two boys. I can't even believe that their ages are almost 17 and 18. It's crazy. They were just born, and now I'm the mother of two young adults, and they're amazing guys. And my husband and I are both dental geeks, if you will, and we practice together. We met in the world of dentistry, and I'm a Naperville girl. I shop local. I try to eat local, do everything local. I love Naperville.
I know I see you all over social media, and one of the things that you're doing is working out way too early, in my opinion. So tell us about, how did you get the determination to wake up as early as you do to continue these workouts at Orange Theory, correct?
Yes, a little plug for OT. I don't know. It was just one of those things. I was 49. As I was approaching the age of 50, I really got tired of people saying, "Hey, I work out. Do you work out?" And I always would say, "No, but I want to." And I said, "Okay, I'm tired of this answer. I'm going to start saying, yes, I do. And I have to just make it happen." And I knew that if I did not go at the crack of dawn, that I would never go, because, then work takes over and then you've got family obligations after work. I just knew I wouldn't go. So my class is at 4:55 a.m. and it's a full class every day. And I
Wow.
see lots of patients, parents, a lot of Naperville people that go at the same time. It's really amazing. Lots of business owners too.
I give you credit because a lot of people keep saying tomorrow, 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 Monday, right? So to have that dedication and to have it that early in the morning. I'm not an early morning gal, but yeah, no, I give you a lot of credit, and I'm sure your body thanks you for it. And as we get older, I mean, staying strong is super important. So
I actually do it a lot more for my mental health more than
yeah.
anything else, because it really does. It's an unplug. It really does sort of kind of balance you out in your life. You disconnect from what you're actually doing at the gym, and your mind just kind of just filters through the day. And it's great therapy. It's wonderful therapy. And it's I think one of the best benefits for me.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. I agree. I mean, as a chiropractor, we learn so much about the body and how it all works, and it's so intricate and detailed. And it's unbelievable how things piece itself together. And exercise is an incredible way to make sure we are keeping our brain chemicals level and getting those boosts of the happy hormones and things like that. So. Well, let's dive into orthodontics. Your practices innovative orthodontic centers. You have a location in downtown Naperville, and then also one in North Shorewood, South Plainfield. Is that correct?
Yes, that's it. Yep.
Okay. And how long have you been in practice here?
So we opened our practice about 18 years ago, actually, downtown Naperville. We're right above Hugo's Frock Bar. And we have a multi-specialty practice. So we have an orthodontic practice, a pediatric, and a general practice with all specialties. So oral surgery, endodontics, periodontics. So you really can go there with your whole family. And it's really, really wonderful because we treat families there. And so we've been there for quite a while now. Yeah.
That's good. That's great. All right, so let's dive in. Number one, I wanted to talk about the function of our teeth, not just a pretty smile. What does that sentence mean to you?
I think that just totally summarizes what orthodontics is all about. That's how I truly believe. A lot of people, most people, really think about orthodontics as just this pretty smile, but it is really functionally based. And so our job as an orthodontist is to identify what are those functional problems that this patient is facing, due to some of their bite discrepancies. And what's the wear and tear and long-term negative that they're going to have with those teeth if we don't fix all those problems. And once you fix the wear and tear and get a good bite established and get the health of your joints and your jawline, you always get a pretty smile. That's going to always be the best bonus of any orthodontic treatment, but a healthy, functional bite is so important. It also affects how you eat food, your digestive system, how you breathe, how you swallow. So it's really such an important part of who we are, and it's not just about a pretty smile.
Yeah, well, that's great to know. I know that we see things on the branch, the moms community I run, about moms questioning why on earth a 7-year-old would go get a checkup at an orthodontist. Can you share a little bit more about when you start seeing patients and why there's a reason to have someone that's younger than what many people expect it to be get a checkup?
Yes, absolutely. So this was something that was a pretty big paradigm shift in the field of orthodontics. And I would say it started about 22 years ago, where it was then recommended by our specialty to have every child at the age of 7 checked by an orthodontist. And so parents need to know that these are checkups. And what we do is we look for certain benchmarks to be hit every time we see your child every year. So we like to see them at the age of 7. We know that they get their 6-year molars at the age of 6. So if they're 7 or 8 and their 6-year molars aren't in, why is that? Are they just really delayed, or is there some other issue being caused? We know your 8 front teeth grow in when you're 8. If they're not in, why is that? So part of the purpose is really to make sure everybody is growing and developing on track, hitting these benchmarks. And if they are, then we see them once a year, watch their growth and development, and then talk about any orthodontics that might be necessary when they're a teenager. Part of the other huge part of it is to be proactive. So we may definitely identify some problems, some issues, some risks that need immediate care. And if we don't do that care, it puts some of their teeth at a really high risk, meaning to say they might get damage to some adult teeth if we don't treat them at that age of 7. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to eliminate all the risks. And if they have nothing risky and everything is developing well, we see them every year. That's not to say that a 7-year-old has to have, this glamorous Hollywood smile. And certainly when we do that early treatment, if they need it, the goal isn't to make them Hollywood unless, of course, they're a model, right?
Unless they're actually in Hollywood.
Right, exactly. The goal is to make sure that they are healthy, that they are developing well, and we're mitigating any risks that can develop them. And it's the difference between being proactive to manage anything, or they come in at the age of 13 and you say, oh my God, now I have to react to everything in their mouth.
Meaning you have to pull teeth, and it's a longer treatment and things like that, correct?
Yes. So you can have teeth that are so damaged, severe crowding, that now you have to pull teeth. We can avoid that. You can have periodontal problems. You can have broken and chipped teeth even as a teenager. So there are joint problems that can start developing at the age of 7 or 8 because of bite problems. They can be biting their cheek if they have a cross bite. So there are a multitude of different things that we look at that we don't want to be reacting to when they're teenagers.
Yeah. Well, and that goes back to that first thing I asked you, right? The function of our teeth and how that plays into our entire body's health. It's not just, this is crooked and that is crooked. We understand that most people, that's probably more why they come in. But the long-term effects of not having a balanced mouth, a balanced mandible and maxilla, and where how the teeth come together really can cause issues well beyond anything visually.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this, when someone comes in and they're 7 and we can do something, normally is that like Nick had an expander, right? So he had an expander and limited braces, and that was the first phase of treatment. And then whenever he was 11, 12, or whenever we brought it back in, I actually don't remember. Then that was that second phase of braces. So most people will consider that or call that 2-phase orthodontic care. Is that correct?
Correct. So if somebody has some issue that we want to resolve, they may end up getting a 2-phase treatment where we take care of whatever problems exist at that moment for a 7-year-old. And then their second phase is the teenage time.
Okay.
I will say that the phase 1 is always much more important than their phase 2. They get much more result-driven outcomes during their phase 1 than their phase 2. It becomes much more significant and much more important. And so it's not like you're doing it again. You are taking care of big problems for that 7, 8-year-old. And then now at the age of 12, you're just like tweaking little things. So I think that's a really important distinction, because a lot of people think, well, why would I do it early when I'm going to have to do it again? But they're not a repeat of the same thing.
It's not again, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And some people would probably ask, well, there's still baby teeth, right? So you got adult teeth, baby teeth, and I'm sure there's a reason for that as well.
Yes. So one of the biggest things, we talked about the benchmarks that we look for. Typically around the age of 8.5 or so, you should not lose any more teeth. There's a gap between the age of, let's say, 8 and 10, or 8.5 to 10.5. You don't want to lose extra baby teeth during those years. So you should have 12 baby teeth when you turn 10 or 10.5. And then you start losing the rest of those 12 baby teeth. If you lose too many baby teeth early, if you lose some of those 12 baby teeth early, you're almost locked into having extraction of the adult teeth.
Okay.
So that's a huge, important red flag that we want to make sure we watch. So some of the early treatment we do is to preserve the 12 baby teeth so they don't fall out from severe crowding. So that's a very good example of where we may use an expander.
Okay.
We're kind of making just the palate a little bit larger so that they can accommodate the teeth that need to come in at the age of 8, as well as preserve 12 baby teeth until the age of 10, and then make enough room so that the teeth from 10 to 12 come in straighter. I know that's a lot of numbers, but it's a very controlled system that we follow. There's specific protocols. It's not something that you make up. It's actually founded in the dentition and what you see on the x-ray and what should be happening at their age. And early treatment could simply be just that expander. And by the way, we do have an Invisalign expander now, so we don't always have to use the metal, which is sort of hot off the presses. It's something that's not available yet in the general public, but we do have it at our office. It will be available soon. And then an early treatment could also mean Invisalign or braces. So we can do either one for that younger person.
Well, let's roll right into that Invisalign conversation, because I know that's a hot topic in the mom world. My child is this age. How on earth are they going to use Invisalign? I'm sure there's a checklist for this is a good candidate. This child may not be the best candidate, but first of all, you are actually one of the top 300 providers in the world and the #1 in Illinois for Invisalign. That is just that's huge. So great. I mean, great job. What caused you to dive into Invisalign at an earlier age in your career and get to a point where I know you now speak about it?
So I started doing Invisalign the first year that I was in my orthodontic residency. So I've been using that product for 22 years. And it wasn't, around for much longer than that. So I was one of the early adopters, if you will. And I think one of the ways that we really learn is through our failures more than our successes. And as I used Invisalign product, which is the clear aligners, more and more, I tested the waters, and I would learn how to better control teeth using those plastic aligners. And then I would sort of learn and put something else to the test and learn and learn. And I think that helped me to really feel incredibly comfortable using this as an alternative to braces and wires. And with that, I had a falling in love with the system, because I have a lot of respect for the company because they do invest a tremendous amount of resources on a consistent basis to improve their technology, the plastic, the software, how to control and move teeth, the systems that they offer orthodontists. So it is an incredible opportunity for orthodontists to treat patients without brackets and wires. And so as I fell in love with the product got better. I gained more experience. And I think it just kind of, there was a great synergy about that. And I think I would say in the last 15 years, of my 20 plus years using it, I've really ramped up my comfort and my expertise, where now in our practice, everybody is a candidate for braces and Invisalign. And so it's really about the personality. If
Okay.
you're diligent, responsible, you can keep track of things, and you want Invisalign and you don't want braces and you're going to put the work in, you will absolutely 100% get the results. So being a candidate's not about the teeth or treatment in our office. It's about you. We ask you, patient, what do you think? Can you do this? And if you can, you just get a tremendous result.
Yeah. Oh, that's great to know. Do you have a kind of a percentage, especially like in kids or in adults, of what percentage you do Invisalign and what percent you do brackets and braces?
Yeah, because really the only reason we would ever put braces on an adult is if they absolutely are just so busy they cannot keep track of these the routine that's required. So
Okay.
I'd say about 99% of our adults have Invisalign. I would say about maybe 60 to 70%, maybe close to 60 of our teens have Invisalign. And the reason for that is because teens love bling. And they do, it's a very, kind of a cyclic desire for teenagers, where the pendulum swings one way and they all want metal and bling, and then it swings the other way and they all want nothing to show, they want plastic. So we've been in this braces bling phase for a little while, and I'm happy to give the patient what they want. If they want braces, you get braces. If you don't want braces, you get Invisalign. And then our younger kids, the age of 7, 8, or 9, and that's really, I think, where we make the most impact on people's teeth and their jaws and their lives for the long run, are those younger patients. And we do have a lot of Invisalign. I would say it could be somewhere around 70%.
Wow.
And growing, because parents come in thinking, what are you, nuts? You're going to do it on my 7-year-old?
Yeah.
And then they say, okay, well, she sounds like she knows what she's talking about. And then they start and they go, whoa, this is so easy. 7-year-olds are super compliant. They'll do whatever you ask them. Their teeth move and their jaws grow in a remarkable way with very little effort. So they actually have to do less work to get more outcome. And so that experience then transfers to their other kids, and then they tell other parents, moms namely. And so moms will learn, oh my gosh, Invisalign apparently is amazing for these young kids. You have to know how to use the product, right? So that's where the experience comes in.
Sure.
And if you do, then it's such a beautiful way to treat really patients of all ages.
Oh, that's great to know. I guess I would have assumed a little bit heavier on braces, especially at that earlier age, just because, again, of the patient and compliance. But that's great to know.
It's actually opposite. And then Invisalign patients have no emergencies. They have no food restrictions. They have no urgency to come to the office. And of course, we love braces. I've been using braces, for a long time. And braces are remarkable, the change they make. It's great, but there are pros and cons with each system. And so it's really important to have that conversation with the family, whether it's an adult or a child, to find the right product, because we're orthodontists, right? We're providing orthodontic care. My goals of treatment don't change if you're getting braces or Invisalign. I have the same goals of treatment. I have the same finish line. I'm going to use all the same mechanics to get you to that finish line. Whatever tool you want, I'll use it. Doesn't matter to me. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on and sharing a little more and answering what I'm sure are some of the most popular questions you get when moms and or kids or adults come into the practice and ask, am I doing braces? Am I doing Invisalign? And what does this process look like? So thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, Dr. Cathy. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. How could someone get a hold of you?
they can email me.
Okay. What's a great email for you?
So it's kind of long. So we can share it. It's Dr. Ibrahim at innovativeorthocenters.com.
Okay. We can put it in the notes.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. And I'd love to answer any questions. I love reading a lot of the questions that are posted on the site. And there are sometimes more than one answer to any question, as you can imagine. So
I bet it's more complicated than you know.
yeah. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Have a great day. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.